years' time, this will pay off. But the payoff's not always guaranteed, because what can happen in the forest? I mean, I don't know much about forests, but I'm sure there's a lot of things out of your control, all right, that are going to disrupt that tree from growing. Anything else? Yeah.
I think trying to sell we goes against so much of what we don't see every day, right? We're always sold on the individual, sold what's best for you in all the messages you see every day. That this is something that's very different than what we have created these pathways in our brain to respond to.
Absolutely. What were you going to say?
I would just say the sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Sometimes the kids are told they're great.
Yeah.
In reality,
Well, how do you deal with that? I'd like to know too, personally.
it's tough. It's kind of getting them buy into your program, to your culture.
Yeah.
And then showing the benefits of that. And to Tim's point, creating a complete person as opposed to just the athlete.
Yep. I mean, we have nice facilities. I mean, I've worked at a bunch of different places. This is the biggest and the nicest, but we don't necessarily want kids that are worried about those things. We have a huge weight room. We have a great Nike contract. We got 7 different uniforms, it's awesome. And there's kids that will come in our doors that are worried about those things. And they want to see, what color our uniforms are today, or blah, blah, blah. We don't want those types of kids. We want the other kid. We want the kid that's talented, but, we'll talk to your student athletes like, talent's overrated. Okay, especially where I work, I've seen it time and time again. It's the kids that just put their nose down and work the hardest, have the best results. And not just as athletes, but when they leave there too. I think I have one more question on here. Okay, what things should be considered? Okay, what do you got to consider when you're trying to build this thing?
The values of the group.
Yep. So what would be? Yeah, your situation's different, but I mean, you're building a culture within your program, okay? What's one of your values?
Attitude. I mean, it says that on our walls, attitude and effort.
Yeah, I like it. That's good.
Those are, I mean, we try and push those on our players, but at the same time, within an individual team, those are kind of created as a group.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in our club, I mean, you have a lot of teams, but each individual team will have their own identity, their own culture.
Yeah, that's the great thing about teams, and the great thing about, coaching on a college level. Every year it changes. Every single players graduate, players leave, we bring in new ones, just like you guys. So every year it's changing. No two teams are ever exactly the same. And for me, that's the fun part about it, is cultivating and developing teams, right, that can hopefully work together and go out and compete. So this is what we've done at Boise State. This is how we built our culture. This is what it's all about. When I first got there, we needed to have a brand. We needed to talk about what's Boise State sports performance going to be. What are we selling? What are we all about? What's the one thing our players know when they step through the doors to train or out on the field to run or wherever it may be that we're trying to get better? Okay, you look at all those companies up there, Nike, Google, Apple, you see that symbol, you know. Right, so what's our brand? What are we doing? It's not about what we do, it's about how we do it. I talk to a lot of high school coaches that come into the weight room and say, hey, we want to know what programs you're doing. Can you give us some stuff? Sure, you can have everything. Okay, I'll give you every program we've ever written. But that's not what it's about. It's not about those things. It's about how we do it, how we coach it. Okay, what our attitude, what our effort's like in there. Okay, so effort. All right, this is the one word that I find every coach, sport coach, sports performance coach, whatever it may be, seems to use on a daily basis. We need your best effort. You got to give me more effort. Things like that. So we got to demand that each and every day from our kids, right? We want their best effort. So I thought about the word a little bit more. What does effort consist of? What does that mean? Okay, let's take that word and let's build our culture around that word. All right. And this actually started before I got to Boise State, so this is something we've carried over and progressed and developed throughout the years, okay? This is the dictionary definition of it. Pretty cool stuff: physical or mental energy, hard work, conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something, okay? Good stuff. An 18 to 22-year-old kid will never remember that, okay? So we got to break it down. How can they remember? So we broke it down letter by letter. This is what each letter stands for. Okay? E, enthusiasm. okay? Another word for attitude or positive attitude, okay? We want kids that are enthusiastic, okay? This is one of my favorite quotes. Enthusiasm is the mother of effort. Without it, nothing great was ever achieved. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So this is what it means from the dictionary. Fervor of soul, strong excitement. This is how we define it. Our players will train with great enthusiasm, incorporating genuine energy and emotion. Doesn't necessarily mean they need to be rah-rah, okay? They don't need to be that, because not everybody falls in line with that, personality-wise. But they need to be excited about the opportunity to get a little bit better. Our staff, okay, so I'm lucky enough to have a staff of 3 full-time assistant coaches underneath. So our staff, we're going to set the temperature of the room. That's what you guys are going to do at practice or wherever you might be coaching. Be the thermostat. Set the temperature. Okay, if you want enthusiastic, high energy, positive guys, then you need to be that. Okay, so we're going to do that as well. We're going to be great examples of what enthusiasm is. F is all about focus. Okay? So this is the dictionary definition: the concentration of attention or energy on something. This is how we'll define it. A player will be extremely focused on the task at hand, pay attention to do all the little things. And we're not talking about just in the weight room or at practice, okay? You can't give a great effort if you don't know what's going on, right? So if we're in film that week and you haven't paid attention, okay, you won't know what's going on game day, you can't give us a great effort. Effort's not just about running hard, all right, or playing hard. It's about all these other little things. So you need to be focused. All right, how many sets, how many reps, how many yards we run, and what's the play call, you know, all those things. Okay, our staff will be detail-oriented, demand our players train and perform that way. Wear the mirror. Whatever we're asking them to do, we're going to be the example every day, day in, day out. Second effort is finish. All right, this is the hardest concept for anyone really to understand unless you've been through the process for a while, but what finishing is all about. That's the dictionary definition. A state of perfection, having a flawless or impeccable quality. Our players will understand how to finish. Right? We'll demand that from themselves.